Hey, it's Kyle A. there, the voice of the narrator from Dragon Ball Z. And you're watching That's Dope.
Oh my god, it feels so great. I am an idealist to a degree. I am a dreamer.
Okay.
I am one of these people that looks at big picture. I'm like the hub of the wheel, and the spokes are all these different things. And I see, gee, you know this, and you know that, and she knows this, and he knows how to do that. Maybe you ought to meet him, he ought to meet him, he ought to meet them. And I make connections. I do that with people all the time. That's how the movie things developed.
Okay.
They fit in more with the boys. And you know, the girls were all cliquish or cheerleaders or whatever, and I had a lot more friends with the boys because I liked the stuff they did.
Yeah.
And so I never really found a place. I was pretty much of a loner. There were 3 or 4 people that were also didn't fit in, so we were kind of didn't fit in together. And when I was 15, I started a fan club.
Really?
And yeah, because I didn't have anybody. My home life was unusual, and I really didn't have very many friends. I was kind of an outcast. I started a fan club so I could get social interaction with people. And from a distance, they would only be able to base their judgment on me by what I showed them with my mind and my knowledge and my ability to communicate. I've always watched anime. I just didn't know I was watching anime.
Really now?
My favorite cartoons when I was a kid. I've always been a science fiction geek. And Star Trek was some of my first conscious memories. And Kimber the White Lion.
Oh, really?
Which, yeah, I can remember being 3 years old, pretending to be the little white lion and all of this. And I didn't realize until much, much later that Kimber was
technically an anime.
Was anime, and my God, is it socialist? But I didn't know that at the time. But we did that, and then as I got older, I found Speed Racer. Loved Speed Racer. Absolutely loved Speed Racer. I would race home every day to see Speed Racer. And because it was better than, to me, whatever else was going on, because you had high adventure and you had characters that, even though, yes, their names were stupid, the characters and what they were doing wasn't stupid. The adventure wasn't stupid. The places they went and the relationships with the family and the girlfriend and the brother and the monkey and all that kind of stuff was cool. It was fun. And all the places they got to see. And the little mystery thing with Racer X, and was it Speed's brother, and this kind of business. So the intrigue and all of that kind of got to me.
It's much more layered than, I guess, like what was going on.
Right, and it looked, I mean, the cars looked like they were moving. The way the animation was done, it was more realistically animated.
Okay.
So I went to that first convention, and it was just my people. It really felt like, you know, they welcomed you, and they didn't care what you looked like. They didn't care what you wore. They didn't care if you wore glasses. They didn't care if you were big, tall, skinny, you know, white, black, tall, short, whatever. They didn't care. What they cared about was what was in your head and what was in your heart. If you could talk to them, you accepted them and talked to them like people. They talked to you like people. They didn't care how old you were. They didn't care if you were, you know, if you were 16 years old, if you could keep up with the conversation, come on in. I felt very welcome there. I had so long felt like the square peg in the round hole, and no matter how hard I tried to knock the edges off, I could never fit in that round hole that seemed to be society or regular school. A-Kon started originally as the beginnings, as we wanted it to be a place where all the chapters of the EDC from across the country could come together and meet once a year.
Okay.
But then anybody who wanted to come in with them certainly could.
Did you know this was going to be successful at all? I mean, did you think it would be, I guess, long running like it is?
Thought it would probably pull in a couple hundred people maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And when it pulled in almost 400 people, that kind of shocked me, and that told me, maybe there's more people out here that like this stuff that just don't know that there's a place they can go to gather with others who like it too.
Okay, I sure did.
And if we could offer them a place where they could go and not feel like the outcast, they could go and feel like they belonged, like they, had community, like they, that was important to me. That's my heart. That was my heart of doing the show in the first place, was wanting to give back what was given to me by the sci-fi shows.
Okay.
And I think that's what keeps a lot of it going for me, is the fact that it is important. And people are like, but it's an anime con, how's it important? That feeling of being needed, of being part of something that overall is bigger than you, that all of these people look forward to, that's necessary. You don't get a lot of that in life just in your everyday. I'm the one that actually stood up and went, we gotta do this, and here's how, and here's, but that's the why.
That's really good.
The why.
That's really good. And I feel that actually, like I remember going to my first A-Kon, I was just like, I feel accepted here. I feel like, even though there's so much craziness going on here, I like it, and they like me, and I remember
and they're not looking at you like, what are you doing here?
Exactly.
And I have had that at other cons, at other anime cons.
Jeez, well, I'm really glad you stuck around.
There.
We're glad you stuck around, and I mean, you've done it, honestly. I mean, it's about to happen. I'm super excited for this con, and
it's fun too.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's something I look around for all year. Like, I've been thinking straight about this since December, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna say it, but
and so many people,
right?
They
25,000, right?
We haven't hit that yet. We were 23.
Okay, wow.
But we may hit that this year.
It's bigger than colleges.
It's bigger than some colleges, yeah.